Hello, welcome everyone. Hello, welcome. I am waiting a few moments for you to join. I'm super excited for today's topic. It's bodyfulness, the art of living through the body. And exactly, it is the art of living through the body. I was just reflecting even now, just before I was putting this title here in the description of the live, that maybe it should be like in the body. And then I was like, no, it's the art of living through the body, and I will explain this in relation to the topic itself when I go further, why it is important to put emphasis of the art of living through the body and how to do it, how to attain it. Hello everyone. I'm happy to see you. Of course, there is space for questions, so if you want to ask some questions, this is the time. This is why this is what life is for. And so let's start from the beginning. Why the topic and where it's coming from? So recently I am spending more time on researching and going even deeper into the embodiment and somatic science related topics. And there is not this research is not like, let's say, the obvious one. It's not something that, let's say, if every second university would be doing researches, or that would be like so many scientists and people really interested in these topics. So this requires a lot of discernment. That's what I was already talking about. And I'm going back to my notes, to the literature from my university time, but also I was in the art school, so this approach was a little bit different. Like, we were really more oriented into the performance aspect of the movement and dance, and so this is also, and like strictly philosophical aspect and anthropological aspect. So this is a little bit different to what I am interested now, and to what people actually are interested in really pursuing, in what can really influence their life positively, and how they can really change their life through this wisdom, through this knowledge of movement and embodiment and bodyfulness. I will be probably incorporating this term in my terminology, in the usage of the terminology, because if it makes sense, that I will definitely do it. So I'm doing this research, and I came across the book by Christine Caldwell called Bodyfulness. And that really, when I was researching and I was asking for the embodiment related literature, there would be some literature from, like, strictly from philosophy and like somatic related therapies, or of course positions like the spiritual, I don't know now the English title. I'm always mixing, like, in Polish, Portuguese, English, so sometimes I'm not sure about the translations, but Alexander Lowen's work, obviously, The Spiritual Body, I believe might be the title in English as well. And then it would go more towards spirituality per se, or it's just like really hard to describe. It's just like, as I said, everybody would have their own approach, and I'm very much about my own approach and the approach that is working, that is helping you people. and I am really listening and observing people, how they move, why they move the way they move, why they have pain, what kind of pain they have, and what they can do about it, and then how pain is related, how it's really related with the mind-body connection, because we experience the pain physically, but it's never really just physically. So there would be this aspect of my work, so really focused on somatic tension release. And then through somatic tension release, we come to the expression part. So we come to the deeper connection with oneself, with the essence, with the one that wants to express oneself. This is already another level of life, right? When we have this space, when we have time to really go deeper in understanding ourselves, and to really be experiencing and expressing it. So when we have this ability, and when we have this awareness of really experiencing through expressing, or expressing through experiencing, and these are the nuances that I am extremely passionate about, and this is the nuances that depending where you are in your journey, in your embodiment journey, you don't have to really understand everything, because I mean, I'm studying this my whole life. When I entered university, I remember I was freshly out of high school, and I was really passionate, and I wanted to be a dancer, but I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to like dance, maybe do the tricks, and really focusing on the physical aspect, even though I was really interested in the study itself, because my mind was always super witty and I had ease with this. So I found myself very early on like really being in the merge of these two worlds, where I wanted to experience physically, but I also wanted to stimulate my mind and understand things, and really celebrate the academic approach, and see the benefits that it can really bring to the field of pretty much any field, right? But in that terms, we are talking about the dance and the movement, the conscious movement, and so on, so on. So I found this book now, and then I found a few lectures on YouTube by Christine Caldwell. She has PhD in somatic psychology. She wrote the several books. She has her own methodology and her own private practice that's called Moving Cycle. So she's also giving therapies to people, and she's a speaker, she's a teacher, she has her own department, her own department at the university in somatic psychology. So that's a really interesting person, and the most important, she has over 30 years of experience on what she is doing. So this is really deeply rooted in the academic field, in the academic world, as well as is rooted with the experience of working with hundreds of people and lecturing and really observing and researching on the power of embodiment and bodyfulness, bodyful life. So let's start. I see there's some questions. I will answer the questions in the end, because I will explain a few things first about the basics. So let's start from what is the difference, according to Christine Caldwell, what is the difference between embodiment and bodyfulness. So she describes embodiment as a more simple concept. So it's more about having the awareness, being in the body, and being aware of functions like breathing, even the movement, but it's about more simple awareness of being in the body. So that's, in the simplest word, how she refers to embodiment, and this is the reason why she started to use the term bodyfulness. I researched, it's not attributed strictly to her, because and she also said it, that she doesn't think she invented the term necessarily. I found few traces of this term being used earlier than she started to do it, but she's definitely a pioneer of popularizing this term and on really going deeper on understanding on what it is. So according to her, bodyfulness is an active approach to embodiment practices, and it goes beyond embodiment, and it is actively engaging in transformational somatic practices that cultivate wholeness, healing, and empowerment. So this is also what she says on what is bodyfulness. In my personal story, as you might have seen already, I am using this, I haven't used the term bodyfulness before. I am using term embodiment, and for me embodiment has this deeper meaning. And what I learned, so this was a good moment for me also to realize it again for myself, and then also to share this with you, for you to be aware and to be cautious on what does it mean on the context where you see the term embodiment. Because as I see, is why when I'm having a guest or when I talk to somebody, I'm always asking what the person thinks what embodiment is, because I found that as this term is not strictly firmed in any tradition, or like generally every person would have their own definition of what embodiment is for them. And I see many different practitioners, and what I see, for example, my use of term embodiment is very much to what we are going to explain as bodyfulness. This is what I mean by embodiment. And then what I see might be slightly different or very different, which might be just this, I don't like to use the word just, but it might be this less complex level, for example. And all are great, like it's fine. It's just like for you to be aware and to be sure that where you are going and the person that is going to facilitate something for you is really aligned with the values of what you need and what you want. So this is about this, to be aware of not going into something that you don't want or you don't need, and in the worst case that might be kind of harmful to you. You know what I mean? So this is what I am talking about right now, and why it is important, because then I see term embodiment being misused or like overused a lot in the context of different tantric traditions, which is for me it's very controversial, because internet is a great tool and a very powerful and also might be very dangerous tool. It's not very difficult these days to just read one book or to read one article, ask ChatGPT about like writing a script for a video, and you can position yourself as an authority, as an expert in whatever field you wish. And I have a feeling that in Tantra is very popular and very easy to sell in a certain way. It touches very deep wounds in people, right? So it's easy to fall for some teachings that are not necessarily aligned with the deep values. So yeah, that's a side note, and so be careful with the term embodiment, please. So now we have the term bodyfulness, so let's see if it's going to be actually easier. So I am in the process of reading the book. I already listened to a few lectures where Christine is mentioning qualities of bodyfulness. So there are 8 qualities that I have here, and I would like to go through them so that we can see in a little bit more details what is bodyfulness, because the thing is, as always, that in these terms it's also a lot about the experience, so it's not that much about this theory. So this theory is helpful because once we become aware of something, that we can execute it more, with more discernment, with more precision, with more power. So this is why I am personally passionate about reading about it and listening about it, and then experiencing, and then going through the experience and experiencing something, channeling something, and then writing about it, then sharing about it. That's why I like to mix the formats of experience, of pure experience, of movement, of embodied movement, bodyful movement, and then having time to chat, having time to answer the questions, and for you guys to journal, to meditate on things, to contemplate things, not necessarily all the time in the very big movement, but also in different forms of existence. Because again, exactly, bodyful existence is about how you actually are, how you exist, how you allow yourself to be and to experience. So let's go to first quality as it is on my list. Sensory awareness, feeling the body from within, prioritizing felt experience. So this is going from the experience of how the body looks to how the body feels. And this is what I am really talking a lot in free movement expression, in movement neuroshaping, that you are moved with intention. But this is about movement, this is already about the practice, so this is actually next step, that you first go with certain quality, where you go with the intention. But here it's also about really this deep connection on what you feel inside and what you are sensing over, holistically also, and philosophically. There would be this discussion, for example, about the beauty, right? So this is here, being in bodyful beauty. It's not only about the surface, and it's not about if we talk about self-care, there is a lot of self-care happening these days, where it's about how many layers of creams and some lotions, serums, and whatever God knows what you're putting on your skin. And paradoxically, this is actually making you, it might make you sick, right? Because if these things are toxic, these things are making you sick in a long run. I'm not sure how much more beautiful it can actually make you, because if your diet is not fixed, if, like, just the boring basics of health, if your diet is not fixed, if you are not moving, and if you are not taking care of your mental hygiene, then the external beauty will not exist neither. So this is the same in the movement, like going to the gym and only taking care of toning of the muscles without really feeling, experiencing and understanding of the connection of the body and really feeling what's going on and what the body feels like. This is another level of routines. This is another level of what you can experience as a human being, how well you can feel. Probably you don't really know how well you can feel, and implementing the bodyfulness principles will expand this possibility on how you can really feel, how great you can feel. And this prioritizing feeling and sensation over how the thing manifests outside and how you look like is really game changer if it comes to well-being and thriving. Okay, let's go to the next one. If you have specific questions regarding the specific points, also you can ask them. It's just once I talk about certain thing, I can't answer the question because then it just goes like it's a distraction. So that's why I'd rather just answer them in the end. So second quality is wholeness and integration. Experiencing the body as a unified system, breath, movement, emotions, and energy. So this is about holistic approach. This is about how body is holistic and how we need to be aware of Christine Caldwell, she also refers to it as feedback loops in the bodies, and I really liked this comparison because this was like, yeah, exactly, like all the systems are in constant feedback loops in between each other, and then it goes from the smallest cells in our bodies to the systems, to the tissues, to the organs, to the systems, and so on. It goes bigger. It goes to our energetic bodies, it goes to our emotional bodies, and so on, regarding the tradition, how many bodies we believe we have. So then it just goes outside our aura, right? Like we are not only here in our physical range, it goes also around us, and then ultimately it goes to the objects around us, and it goes to the nature and further elements, ultimately to the whole cosmos, that we are connected, that we are part of it. So this is about remembering that all the systems are connected and that there is this wholeness of the whole system of the organism. Then the third point is movement as a primary language, expressing through motion. So this is focusing on giving back the place and the power of the movement and the authority of a movement as a communication, as a mean of communication. So we need to also remember about this, because this is like the whole concept of bodyfulness is going to the contrary of mindfulness, where again somebody probably wanted to give more wholeness to life, and it's great. I personally don't really mind. I was using the word mindfulness, and I personally didn't think of it. Once I heard Christine, and she said, oh, but in the mindfulness, in the word that is already so mind-oriented, we again put mind on the pedestal. So yeah, that's actually an issue. And that's why bodyfulness emerged. And that's why we have to emphasize also the importance of of a movement as a independent language that is neither worse, neither better than the verbal language. So even here I'm speaking and you could just listen to me, that's fine, you don't have to look at me in that case, right? Or when we have podcasts. But personally, that's interesting thing. I like podcasts and I'm listening to actually I'm always saying like I'm watching podcasts because I am a big fan of YouTube and I just love to research everything on YouTube, and there is a video there usually with the podcast, and even though the people just sit and they just look at each other and they talk, but the body language is always present there and the facial expressions, and there is something about it that I want to see, because there is also the sense of kinesthesia that is always working. So I don't have to do the movement myself. I just through the receptors that are in my body, I would be experiencing the movement through looking at somebody or something moving. So that's the magic of the theater and all the things that are happening, especially live. This happens through the video as well, but especially when it's live, then you can really experience through kinesthesia, through these receptors that are there in our body just to receive the movement. We can actually experience this. So I always prefer to also see when somebody is talking. And I researched the receptors and different types of perception, and that's so fascinating. So maybe I'm gonna do another video, another live on that, just on this, because that's really fascinating. And I mean, once you're becoming like the movement, the embodiment nerd, these things are just getting wider and wider and so interesting. So the fourth quality is process-oriented, not goal-oriented. Not objectifying the body. Ongoing process of being here and now. This is really important. The point of non-body objectification, which means reclaiming the body as a living whole, with the agency, with the archive, with the experience, with the knowledge, with the wisdom. And this is another thing to go to another level, another point, another angle to the whole bodyful embodiment process that I'm talking about. Something that is going to allow to wake you up. This is what Kristen Caldwell, she also writes about, and this is even in the title of the book, The Tools of Waking Up, because this is the only way how you can really be awake in the full manner, in the fullest way, and be ready to experience and thrive. It's like preparing, like putting some oils into your car or bike, whatever you like. This is the same about the body. We need to be putting the oils, and we need to be really mindfully and bodyfully. We need to be really taking care of it and really exercising, practicing, sharpening the senses, sharpening the awareness, and therefore always waking it up, always giving it more life, because life is an action, and we need to be sustaining this action in a bodyful way. And yeah, I'm going from objectification, because it's about taking responsibility. Because when objectification is happening, for example, when you would just say, oh, this just happened, this just happens because, especially let's say the disease, right? Oh, the disease is just happening to me, and oh, the doctors are treating this. No, it's not working like this. Nobody is treating this for you. No pill, no nothing. You have to take the responsibility. That's why you need to be in awake body in order to feel, in order to sense, so that you can react and do something about it. 5. Fluidity and change. Accepting the body as a dynamic experience, perceiving the changes. Being that's a follow-up from not objectification, so giving the authority to the body, giving its space and its importance, so that you start to perceive the changes, so that you know that nothing is permanent and that the only status quo is change, so that actually you are in the flow state of these changes, and that you allow them to happen and that you accept them. So this is another level of awareness that you need in order to be really fully engaged and to be really fully awake, and to enjoy this, to enjoy the ride. 6. Embodied connection to the environment, feeling the body in the context. So I mentioned already, I'm always mentioning this, right, when I talk about this communication, and that I'm talking about the interconnectedness that we talk, the feedback loop, and here it goes, here it's more focused on this cosmic level, and always remembering that we are in a specific context. So this is the wit, this is the intelligence, this is the also body has an intelligence, so this is about connecting all the types of intelligence that we have, to be aware of this different context, and to be actually able to play with it, to be able to use them according to our needs, to be able to be smart about life, because to be able to really bring this more holistic body, more holistic movement, more holistic life approach to life, and to really live it, to really understand it, but to really understand it through body. This is like a recipe for thriving. This is like recipe for fulfilled life. So this is all really super important, and it's all coming like, like building a house. So brick by brick, these are few bricks that you can add to it, and then of course you need to live this. So it's not only about like talking here about it. No, we need to be really living this. 7. Yes, 7. Emotional and psychological presence. Acknowledging the body as an emotional landscape. Emotions are felt in the body. So being aware of the wholeness of your being, and knowing that you feel that you need to feel the emotions. And it's not only here, it's not only through the talking, you need to be always engaging your body in the process, body, mind and spirit, as the representation of the 3 basic planes that we consist of, that we are. So body is one of the 3 most important, and the emotional body is felt through physical body. So we need to have enough awareness, and we need to have enough sensitivity to be able to feel it, and to be able to live with it, and live through this in a conscious way, always bringing more and more consciousness, always bringing more things to the light, so that we are in charge of our life. And 8. self-acceptance and agency, honoring the body as it is, self-compassion, self-trust, body's intelligence. Self-compassion is super important, right? Like, because it's so easy to go, at least for me, still, would be quite easy to go for some judgment, self-judgment, and forgetting about compassion and how important it is, and being kind to myself, being kind to all the processes, being kind to all the effort that I'm always willing to put to improve myself and to make the world a better place. I'm really fully committed to this, and this work I'm doing, it's about really leaving a place at some point when I'm gonna leave. You know what I mean? Like, to really contribute positively to the world and to the society, and be, I feel like there is one saying like this, right? That, oh, I forgot. I'm always forgetting this detail. I need to learn it. That mission. No, maybe it's like purpose. It's something that, like, it's your talent and you discover it, and then the mission is to put it to the world. Or maybe it's the other way around. But you know what I mean? It's like that one thing is to discover what is your purpose and what is your talent, and then the other thing is to actually go and put yourself out there and put it out there into the world to really have an impact, because this is the I mean, both stages, they have difficulties. Maybe the second one, to actually putting it into the world, is a little bit more difficult. Just a thought. So these are the 8 points. Oh, okay, and the self-trust. Yeah, I wanted to emphasize the self-trust. So in the last one, self-trust, it's super important, because this is where the wisdom comes from. So through self-compassion, we can actually achieve more self-trust, and the more self-trust we achieve, then we are more in tune with ourselves, and this is when the real magic is happening, and this is where the whole concept of bodyfulness is coming from. It is about allowing people to really experience and to be happy, to be satisfied, to be fulfilled, whatever you call it, whatever you want actually, but you are unable to be satisfied, and you are unable to be really in the full state of being, in the full state of experience, if you are not including the body. That's why I'm always talking about it, and that's why I created free movement expression, and why I created movement neuroshaping, because this is the future of our lives. This is what we need to be doing. And I'm reading sometimes some statistics. I'm also really passionate about holistic health, and I myself take care of my diet and all the parts that I required, in my opinion, to be healthy, and it's completely 100% working in my case. And then I read some statistics that apparently there is so many people that don't do this, they don't care about the diet, and there are people that are not moving. So I was actually shocked, and then I was like, okay, this mission has to be really even more to be put out there, that movement is so important, that we need to be moving our energy, and in order to have body full life, in order to achieve embodied living and thriving, we need to do practices that are allowing us to achieve this. And first through the physical, it's like in hatha yoga, there is also, you go through asana, because it is so much easier. I did the interview with my yoga teacher from India recently, and he also emphasized it, that it's mind is mind. It's so much easier to go through, to touch the mind and to reshape it when you go through the body. This is the ancient wisdom. Like, they knew it thousands of years before. Now we are rediscovering this knowledge, this wisdom, and we are making it something wow and new, when it's actually the most intuitive, the most basic thing we are here for. Let me answer the questions. Okay, the first one was from Lila. Are there any daily rituals that help you incorporate bodyfulness into your life? Movement neuroshaping. That's my practice to go. I do this every single day, even if it's just 5 minutes, I would do it. I play one song or I don't play a song. I just do, and I just focus, I close my eyes, I connect with my breath, and I start to move. I consciously move my energy, and I awake every cell of my body. And I would do it several times throughout the day. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be 1 hour long practice right away. Or rituals connecting to my breath, just sit, close my eyes, meditate for a little bit. I love mudras. These are the positions of the hands that you can do to emphasize certain type of energy. This is the whole study in yoga, so I totally recommend. The simplest one is chin mudra, when you connect your thumb with your index finger, and this represents the surrender of your ego to the higher consciousness. This is like literally magic. You just connect in both hands. You connect your thumb with your index finger, you put it upwards on your knees or your thighs. You can do it on your chair. Just close your eyes and connect. Just do it right now. This is the simplest practice you can do. And just observe your breath. And start to relax your mind. Relax your shoulders. Relax every unnecessary tension that you start feeling. Relax your face and relax. And start to find the peace or whatever it's coming up, like the music of your breath. Like really get so interested, so curious in it. These are very simple things. You don't need anything. You don't need any fancy device, any fancy equipment. You just need yourself, your awareness, your concentration, your discipline, your discernment, your determination, your commitment. Work on those and you are fine. Okay, another question. How can you use bodyfulness to help you cope with stress and emotions? The more bodyful you live, you have more awareness. Therefore, it's easier to notice your patterns and your habits. And this goes especially with the destructive ones, with the negative ones, the ones that are not serving you. Because you want good habits. You want a habit that you wake up and you go to your mat and you start to move, or you sit and you meditate, you journal. You want this kind of habit. So the habit in a sense that you don't think about something. So this is something you want. You want to have, because this is helping you, because you don't have to think of it, right? You just wake up and you know what to do. You don't have to think whether what to do, right? Because this is already a decision, and this is tiring your mind, and your cognitive capacities are limited for day. So you want these habits, but then the more awareness you have, you can track the destructive habits. And if it comes to stress, you might track if you're holding something. So you, with the awareness, when you're bodyful, when you are like living a bodyful life, you start to feel the smallest changes, and then you can go there, or you just start notice them, and then instead of just like accumulate it somewhere in the body, you just let it go. And this is the habit. This is the habit you want. So this is how bodyfulness can help you. And then the bodyful practices, everything what you do with awareness and consciousness will help you to deal with this, right? So instead of holding on to emotion, just go into the meditative mode, just go into the observation mode, and understand that you are not an emotion, and that you just can let it go without any harm. Okay, is there some more questions? I don't see any more questions for now. My notes are also all covered. I have a great topic coming for next week, and I want to talk about grace, because actually I wanted to talk about grace this week, but then I found myself reading more the book and listening to the lecture, and I was like, okay, no, let's go with the bodyfulness by the concept of how Christine Caldwell is describing it. And then grace deserves a whole another topic, and this I might connect even to with the map of consciousness with by David Hawkins. Maybe this is something I'm gonna do. Let's see. I need to feel inspired, so probably I will decide next Sunday or even Monday in the morning. Okay guys, thank you so much. Thank you for joining this live. I hope you got a lot of value from this, or maybe if not, that's also fine. Write in the comments what you got from this live. I would love to hear from you, and if some questions arise through listening to this, then yeah, please ask them, and this might be material for another video or just, you know, a great conversation. And if you want to start your bodyful embodiment journey, I am offering movement neuroshaping classes, private sessions, group sessions, and as well as I am offering embodiment coaching. This is when, with my help, with my guidance, you can learn through experience, according to your personal needs. You can learn how to live embodied life, and how to manage your pain, or how to boost your creativity through conscious movement, or how to express yourself, how to connect with your self-expressions. These are only the three most common reasons why people work with me. So if you feel inspired, if you recognize yourself in this, then contact me, and I'm really happy to work with you and witness and guide you in your life's transformation. Thank you. See you next time. Blessings to all of you, and yeah, again, see you next week. Bye bye.